Monroe County Sheriff's deputies say Jacobonis had a personal protection device with two sharp points in his hand as he approached Zeldin. Jacobonis was charged with attempted assault and then released shortly thereafter. But questions about whether federal charges will be filed still remain unanswered.
2 on your sides, Rob Hackford has the latest on the investigation tonight from our information center. Rob?
Scott and Mary Ellis, when asked about potential federal charges with Zeldin being a sitting congressman, the U.S. Attorney's Office said no comment. Now, keep in mind, this is an ongoing investigation, so that response was not too surprising. But we have confirmed tonight that the FBI is assisting local law enforcement, and if federal charges are filed under Title 18, Section 351 of U.S. Code, the FBI is that agency that would need to be involved.
Your next governor of New York State, Lee Zeldin.
A day after being attacked during an event outside of Rochester, Republican gubernatorial candidate and Congressman Lee Zeldin was back on the campaign trail Friday in a small town west of Syracuse. He recalled the attack Thursday night and how his running mate Allison Esposito and campaign staff subdued the suspect, 43-year-old David Jacobonis.
I noticed he had a weapon in his hand, and it had two holes where he had two fingers through the holes. It had two sharp dagger-like edges on it, and he was telling me you're done.
Jacobonis was charged with attempted assault, a Class C felony that is not enough under New York state law to be placed in jail while awaiting a legal proceeding. Zeldin and New York GOP leaders have said this attack, however, is another example of why the state's bail reform law should be rewritten, even with Governor Hochul having added several new qualifying charges to the list.
This whole thing is broken. This is endemic of it. The fact that it's even a possibility for this guy to say, oh yeah, I think he can go. I mean, there should not be bail for something like this.
My first and foremost concern about cashless bail and the need to overhaul it is dangerousness. The judges should have discretion to weigh dangerousness. It's about the victim.
Zeldin did say he had more security in place Friday without giving exact details. In a brief statement, state police told 2 on your side that troopers had contacted Representative Zeldin's campaign Friday and were having ongoing discussions about his security. According to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, the 43-year-old suspect did have his home searched early Friday morning and was issued a stay-away order of protection. Rob Hackford, Channel 2 News.
Thank you, Rob. And earlier today on our town hall, we spoke to legal expert Barry Covert. He says that the current bail laws are a way to ensure innocence until someone is proven guilty. Here's what he had to say about Zeldin's alleged attacker and why he was released after going before a judge.
Well, we're not putting him in jail yet because he hasn't been convicted of anything. We're all presumed innocent, regardless of how serious the offense is. And until there's a jury conviction or a plea, we should not assume that the person's guilty. What we should assume is that they're going to show up for court.
He says if the suspect does not show up for court or violates other court orders, that's when bail could be considered under the current laws.
And as the investigation into the attack continues tonight, many are left wondering why. What could have prompted this kind of an incident?
Some are questioning campaign strategies as well as candidate rhetoric. So tonight we reached out to 2 political analysts to get their views on the issue.
We asked Carl Calabrese and Talia Rodriguez if the tone of political campaigns has escalated to an all-new level of severity.
I believe there is an added intensity with the political campaigns that we're seeing, and that's because our countrymen are getting involved, right, at a great degree, and they're feeling strongly about what our leaders are saying and how they're presenting themselves, and I think that energy is really kind of bubbling to the top.
It began to change with the introduction of social media and the kind of the anonymous social media mob that can, gang up and really get very abusive to an elected official and get other people to join in. And now we then go to a stage where people are protesting in front of homes. That was almost unheard of until recently. And now it's the next step, and that's violence.
Well, with that being said, we asked if there's anything that can be done to stop hateful political discourse in its tracks.
absolutely think anytime any of our neighbors resort to alleged act of violence or an act of violence, that we should reflect, right, and say, how can we help this person who that act of violence is an expression of their desperation, right? I do believe that both political parties have a responsibility to us as American citizenry and as New Yorkers to really be leaders, right, and to embody what they think leadership needs to look like.
I think it's possible to deter it, but to deter it, you have to use deterrence. You have to start arresting people, and you have to start coming down hard on people, and you got to start sending a message that, you know, normal protest, acceptable protest, constitutional protest is fine, but when you cross a line, there's going to be consequences.
Now, despite being political analysts on opposite sides of the spectrum, both Calabrese and Rodriguez agree. People feel very strongly about their beliefs, but violence is not the way to express those beliefs.
You can hear more from Carl Calabrese and Talia Rodriguez on our website, WGRZ.com. Plus, we'll continue to follow all of the developments in the attack against Congressman Lee Zeldin online and on air right here on Channel 2.